Namaste. Happy Vasant Panchami. I'm going to read Book 7, Chapter 14, on the going to heavens of Trisanku and the commencement of Harishchandra's narrative. Om Vakratuna Mahakaya Surya Koti Samprabhaya. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Saksha. Hari Om. Vyasa said, O king, settling in his mind what to do, the great ascetic Vishwamitra collected all the materials necessary for the sacrifice and invited all the Munis. Thus invited by Vishwamitra, the Munis became informed all about the sacrifice, but owing to the fact that the Muni Vishishta prevented them, none of them went to the sacrifice. When Vishwamitra, the son of Gadi, came to know this, he became very anxious and very sad and came to the king Trisanku and sat. The Maharishi Kausika then became angry and said, O king, Vashishta preventing the Brahmins have all refused to come to the sacrifice. But, O king, see my power of tapasya, I will immediately fulfill your desires. I will instantly send you to the heavens, the abode of the gods. Thus saying, the Muni took water in his hand and repeated the Gayatri Mantra. He gave to the king all the punyams, merits that he collected for himself up to then. Giving him thus all the punyams, he spoke to the king. O king, throw away all idleness and go to the abode of the gods you wanted to go. O king of kings, gladly go to the heavens by the power of all the merits collected by me for a long time, and let you fare well there. Vyasa spoke. O king, when the king of Vipras, Vishwamitra, spoke thus, the king Trisanku, by virtue of the Muni's tapas, got high up in the air without any delay, like a quick flying bird. Thus getting up and up, when the king reached the abode of Indra, the Devas, seeing the terrible Chandala-like appearance of Trisanku, spoke out to Indra, Who is this person coming like a Deva with a violent speed in the air? Why does he look like a Chandala and is so fierce-looking? Hearing thus, Indra got up at once and saw that one, the meanest of the human beings, and knowing him to be Trisanku, reproachingly said to him, You are a Chandala, quite unfit for the Devaloka. So where are you going? You ought not to remain here, so go immediately back to the earth. O destroyer of the enemies, Indra speaking thus, the king dropped from the heavens and like a Deva whose merits had been exhausted, fell down immediately. Trisanku then cried out frequently, O Vishwamitra, being displaced from the heavens, I am now falling very violently, so save me from this trouble. O king, hearing his cry and seeing him getting down, Vishwamitra said, Wait. Though displaced from heaven, the king by virtue of the Muni's tapas remained stationed at that place in the middle of the air. Vishwamitra then began to do Achman, supporter, and commenced his great sacrifice to create another new creation and a second Swargaloka, heaven. Seeing his resolve, the lord of Sachi became very anxious and eagerly came to the son of Gadi without the least delay and said, O Brahmana, what are you going to do? O saint, why are you so very angry? O Muni, there is no necessity to create another new creation. Order now, what am I to do? Vishwamitra said, O Lord of the Devas, the king Trisanku has become very miserable to have a fall from the heavens. Therefore, this is now my intention that you gladly take him to your own abode. Vyasa said, O king, Indra was thoroughly aware to his determined resolve and very powerful asceticism, and so he accepted to do according to his word. Out of terror, the Lord Indra then gave the king a bright and divine body and made him take his seat in an excellent car, and taking leave of Kausika, went with the king to his own abode. Vishwamitra became glad to see Trisanku go to the heavens with Indra and remained happy in his own ashrama. The king, Harishchandra, now hearing that his father has gone to heaven by virtue of his tapas, began to govern his kingdom with a gladdened heart. The king of Ayodhya began then to live constantly with his clever wife, full of youth and beauty. Thus time passed away, but the beautiful wife did not become pregnant. The king became very sorry and thoughtful. He then went to the holy hermitage of Vashishta and bowing down informed him of his mental agony due to his getting no son. O Noah of Dharma, you are skilled in the science of mantrams, especially you know everything of Deva, fate. So, O giver of honor, do for me so that I get a son. O best of Brahmins, there is no salvation for one who has not got any son. You are well aware of this. Then why do you overlook my case when you can remove my sorrow? Even these sparrows are blessed who nourish their offerings. And I am so very unfortunate that day and night I am immersed in cares and anxieties due to my not having any son. Vyasa said, O king, hearing these pitiful utterances of the king, Vashishta thought over in his mind and spoke to him everything in particular. Vashishta said, O king, true, you have spoken that in this world there is no other sorrow more pains-giving than the state of not having any issue. Therefore, king, you worship with great care the water god Varuna. He will crown your efforts with success. There is no other god than Varuna to grant sons. So, O virtuous one, worship him, and you will get success. Both faith and self-exertion are to be respected by men. How can success come unless efforts are made? O king, men who realize the highest truth should make efforts guided by just rules. Success comes to those whose work, else never one is to expect success. Hearing these words of the Guru of unbounded energy, the king made a fixed resolve and bowing himself down, went away to practice tapasya on the banks of the Ganges in a sacred place seated on Padmasan. The king became merged in the meditation of the god Varuna with noose in his hand and thus practicing severe asceticism. O king, when he was doing this, the god Varuna took pity on him and gladly came before his sight. Varuna then spoke to the king Harishchandra, O Noah of Dharma, I am glad at your tapasya, so ask boons from me. The king said, O God, I am without any son. Give me a son who will give me happiness and will free me from the three debts that I owe to the Devas, the Pitris, and the Rishis. Know that with that object I am doing this tapasya. Then the god Varuna, hearing these humble words of the sorrowful king, smiled and said, O king, if you get your desired, well-qualified son, what will you do for me to my satisfaction? O king, if you perform a sacrifice in honor of me and fearlessly sacrifice your son there like an animal, I will then grant you your desired boon. The king, O Deva, free me from the state of sonlessness. O water god, when my son will be born, I will do your sacrifice with my son as an animal in that. Thus I speak truly to you. O giver of honor, there is no suffering more unbearable than this, not to have any son, so grant me a good son, so that all my sorrows be vanished. Varuna said, O king, you will get a son as you desire. Go home, but see what you have spoken before be fulfilled and turn true. Vyasa said, hearing these words from Varuna, Harishchandra went back and told everything about his getting the boon to his wife. The king had 100 exquisitely beautiful wives, of whom Savya was the lawful wife and queen and was very chaste. After some time, that wife became pregnant, and the king became very glad to hear this and her longings in that state. The king performed all her purificatory ceremonies, and when 10 months were completed, and on an auspicious nakshatra, and on an auspicious day, she gave birth to a son like that of a Deva son. On the birth of his son, the king, surrounded by the Brahmins, performed his ablutions, and first of all performed the natal ceremonies and distributed innumerable jewels and much wealth, and the king's joy knew no bounds at that time. The liberal king gave away in special charities wealth, grains, and various jewels and lands, and had the performance of music, dancing, and other things. Here ends the 14th chapter of the 7th book on the going to heavens of Trisanku and the commencement of Harishchandra's narrative in the Maha Puranam Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses by Maharishi Ved Vyasa. Om Jayanti Mangalakali Bhadrakali Kapali Daga Kushma Shipudati Swaswa. Om Trio Mata Chapita.